You're tuned in. To Stardom 100 Radio. Stardom 100 Radio.
What time is it?
With your host, Tanisha Davis. We're the show that's keeping it all the way 100 with you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the heavily orchestrated, never duplicated lyrical symphony known as the Eternal One Eternity, aka Mr. Everlasting, the Lyrical Assassin, and you are tuned into Stardom 100 Radio. Let's go.
Call security!
Yo, what's poppin'? It's the Young Lion, Sammy, and right now you're tuned in to Stardom 100 Radio. Keep it locked.
What's up, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to Stardom 100 Radio. We have another dope discussion today on the show. Today is Friday, July 17th, and there's so much going on in the world today, but we have a special guest. We're going to take our time out to listen to her story and see some of the things that she has been going through recently and our ongoing situation. And so today on the show, we have a special guest by the name of Jenny Ruff. Jenny, how are you doing?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. So I was checking out your story, and just for those who are listening in, before we get into it, can you just tell us briefly about yourself?
Well, I'm a minority. My heritage is from Bolivia. I came to this country when I was 11 years old. My dad had studied here and went back to Bolivia where we had family. When I came back, I didn't know a word of English, and it was all a struggle. I played tennis, and I was pretty good at it, so I ended up going to a really good university where I met my husband, Mike, who played football, and he was a kicker there. Mm-hmm. And basically, Mike came from a completely different world than me. Mike's family was really wealthy. His father, though, was dying of cancer. And my husband rushed through college as he was playing football and was a starting kicker. And he came back to help because his mother, unfortunately, is mentally ill. Mm-hmm. And his father knew that somebody had to help the rest of the siblings in the family. Mm-hmm. And basically, after college, we didn't really talk. It wasn't until years later that I ran into him again. And we started dating. We started getting serious. His mom was a widow, and he had been taking care of the family and all the finances. But she did not like minorities, so she made it very clear that she wasn't happy that I was Bolivian, and she thought that I don't want to have brown grandchildren, and don't do this to me, don't leave me for her. So I kept thinking I could win her over. I had a good job. I was a Division I athlete. I didn't do anything that that would fit her stereotype of what all these minorities are, right?
Yeah.
That have all these resources for tax money. I wasn't any of that, but she never gave me a chance. And as I was walking down the aisle with my dad, mm-hmm. I started hyperventilating.
Wow.
Because I'm looking at her face, and I can just see that on one hand, I'm looking at my husband, I'm thinking, my heart tells me this is who I'm supposed to marry. We really got along, and we were best friends, we were partners. But then next to him was his mom, and the look she was giving me as I'm walking down the aisle, that in my head I'm like, this woman will make my life hell. Yeah. And I started hyperventilating, and they have to stop in the middle of as I'm walking in the middle of the aisle, they have to stop just to get me to breathe and calm down. And I say my vows, and we move forward. And I have this in my anime story that I created. Mm-hmm. And, she basically did that very thing I was hoping she wouldn't do. So that's a quick summary of my story. It's been like an awful soap opera, a lifetime movie, basically.
Yes, I was watching the video about your story, and I was like, OMG, because there are so many women that go through those situations, and then to be in a place where you're a good person and you're worthy of someone, liking you, and to have them just not like you because of your nationality and where you're from, it's horrible. As I'm watching, I was like, oh my God, like, how many women have experienced that with that mother-in-law? That's just, they want to control things. They want things to go their way. And I mean, just listening to your story was just like, wow.
Yeah, it was a no-win, and I'm not used to I try to be a decent person, a nice person. I'm not used to someone not liking me for something I can't control.
Right.
I can't control that you don't like me because I'm a minority. In your head, being a minority is, you're superior because you're white and rich, and I'm
exactly.
a nothing. I'm this gold digger, and I'm the opposite of that. I was accomplished. I could make my own money, but there was nothing I could do to change her, and she made it her mission to make my husband pay. She sued my husband, but she also sued the rest of her kids for $50 million. So
that's
that
a
doesn't
lot
happen
of money.
every day.
That doesn't happen every day.
Well, she didn't have that money. She was wealthy, but she never had that money. But basically the fallout was that she wanted the other siblings to support the pedophile brother, who was your typical rich kid who screwed up everything. She would, give donations to all kinds of schools so that she would get him in and cover up for all his mistakes. And eventually he got busted with child pornography, and that you can't buy your way out of.
Exactly.
It was the FBI. Yeah. And so she was shocked because that was the first time money couldn't buy her what she wanted, which is to protect this, one bad sheep she had. And so basically, when the kids, my husband was the first to say, I'm not writing a letter to the judge. She wanted a letter to the judge saying that he had good character, which of course wasn't true during sentencing. She was just trying to force the kids to lie about their brother. They wouldn't do it because they all had families. They all have careers. They all want to move on and, not be punished for what one of the bad siblings does.
Right.
And when they said no, she found lawyers to sue the other children for $50 million that never existed.
That is horrible.
Crazy.
That is horrible. And I can see, why you were hyperventilating. Like, this is crazy. Like, oh my God. Like, in a situation like that, I would be the same way. Like, I wouldn't know, like, how do you handle that? How do you get past someone who just purposely wants to bring hell towards your life, doesn't want to see you happy? That's crazy. And then just from watching the story, to know that the brother that she's trying to stand behind is crazy. It's a pedophile. Yeah. It's like, why are you backing this person up?
It's just because she's the stereotypical rich white woman who could get everything she wanted. And when the kids went against her, she can't handle it. And it's the 4 good kids. None of them are criminals. None of them ever did anything wrong other than not do what the mom told them to. So she's leaving anything she has left, all of her money, to the pedophile.
Wow.
Meanwhile, they're having their lawyers sue us for all of our life savings, so we're all struggling now, which is unfair. You try to be independent. You try to make your own money. They all have careers. And all of our money goes to her lawyers, who are getting rich off of this. They're getting rich off of suing her own kids.
Wow. So, I mean, how has this experience been for you and your husband? Like, how are you all how are you getting through this? Like, what are you doing to get through this?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to lie and say that this is easy. I mean, I'm married into this chaos. I knew that she would do something bad. I had no idea that she would do this. I thought it was going to be the typical, my mother-in-law hates me kind of, situation.
Right.
But to financially bankrupt us, to try to destroy all of our reputations, to hurt us. And meanwhile, it's just to rob you of your peace. And, as soon as her son got out of prison, she sent him to come stalk me outside of my house. So I'm coming back from, it's a nice summer day, my 2 young kids in the back, And I had seen him driving around my house, and I live in an area where you wouldn't go through the street unless you needed to be here, unless you lived in the area. So it was pretty obvious he was stalking me. But this time, he's just parked sitting there. He's just watching me. I had a new car, so he didn't know it was me. So I was able to turn around and come back and film him. And I thought, okay, I got you. And I tried to go to court and get a protective order. And that judge knew her lawyers. So guess what happened?
Wow.
Nothing.
Wow.
Even with the evidence, even with videotape, which I risked, my kids were in the back seat. I had risked my safety, not knowing if this guy had a gun. Like, why is he still just right in front of my house? And I didn't get it. Luckily, another judge who wasn't biased, he did hear, and he did give me a protective order, but it messed with my head because I don't feel safe at home. We've had death threats from inmates that say he's offered money to have us be taken care of and off. And
oh my God.
It's just financially, it's financially, and then you wonder, is there going to be an ex-criminal that served prison time with him that's going to do something to us? So it's just stress in all areas, but I would say that I'm a believer, and if it wasn't for my faith in God, I wouldn't have made it this far.
and that right there says a whole lot. Like, you really have to stay strong in your faith and trust God that things are going to work out for your good, because we're taught that all things work together for the good of those who love God. So you just have to stay strong in your faith that He's not going to allow something like that to come in and overtake you all, because it's devastating to be going through something like that. And for someone to be connected the way she is, that to, with lawyers and all of these people to just make it difficult for you all is horrible. But you just stay strong in your faith, continue to fight for what you know to be right, because that's, oh man. You have to keep your faith.
Well, it's unfortunately like seeing evil, like the devil every time, because these people, her lawyers defend pedophiles. They have no problem lying in court under oath. This is their world. They have no faith. They're not. This is like fighting the devil constantly because these people don't have a moral compass. So she found the perfect partners to do this to us.
Yes.
But, and the worst thing is, they'll offer me money to walk away. Well, hey, listen, leave your husband, destroy your divorce, and we'll go away. And they'll even offer me money for that. And it's just insane. And, what they don't know is that I do have faith.
Yes.
And I believe it's more important. They can take everything away from my husband and I, everything we worked so hard to get. They can bankrupt us, but what they can't do is destroy my family. Because she just wants to see me unhappy. She wants to see me divorced. She wants my kids to be in a bad situation. But, it's also a great opportunity to teach my kids to fight hard for your marriage, for your life, and against bad
and for
people.
what you believe in.
Material things are nice while you have them, and when you when you can afford things. But also, I started over when I moved to this country with nothing, and I had to rebuild. And if we have to start over, we'll rebuild. But money's not going to define me either. How I behave and what kind of person I am, that's just more important.
Yes. Well, to everyone that's listening, I want you all to be sure to go and learn more about this story and what's going on, and see how you can help out by visiting www.justfightforjustice.com, because I really want more people to learn about your story, and maybe someone that's listening to the show can reach out and help in some form, because it's horrible. But like you said, keep your faith, don't give up, continue to fight for what you know to be right.
Thank you so much. And honestly, what happened is I started seeing people, stand up against injustice because they want to silence you. People want to do bad things and not have you speak up because you're scared to speak up because they know people and they know they can make your life worse. And just seeing people stand up for, hey, that's not right. I'm not going to let you get away with it. That's the whole reason why I did turn this website into my therapy, telling my story and not letting them silence me. So, okay, maybe they take everything we've ever had, bankrupt us, and the rest of the